Okay, so last week was a busy week, some taxpayer friendly, some not taxpayer friendly. First thing is on first-time abatement. So while it's called first-time abatement, taxpayers are allowed to get relief from penalties being charged for late payment of payroll taxes, income taxes, etc. And they're able to do that once every 3 years. So when you actually have a penalty and interest, if you haven't had any sort of penalty or interest charged in the prior 3 years, you can qualify for first-time abatement. So yes, it just keeps recycling. Normally you have to apply for that. And so you have to call the IRS, write a letter to the IRS and request first-time abatement. And it's become more prevalent in the last 5-6 years because they've really tightened up reasonable cause relief. The IRS is coming out now and saying they want a way to streamline the first-time abatement process. So you get offered first-time abatement automatically within the system. You don't have to apply for it. So that's great news for the IRS because they don't have to get a bunch of letters. Great for taxpayers because they don't have to write the letters or call their CPAs to write the letters. The downside to it is, do you use your first-time abatement on a small tax item versus a bigger tax item? So you kind of lose that flexibility by being automatic. This is a reminder that the Kwong ruling that we've talked about in the last couple of weeks, doing a refund claim during the COVID period of January 10th of 2020 through July 10th of 2023. You have till July 10th to file those 845 claims for refunds. Just a reminder to get those done in the next 11, 12 days. The IRS did come out and say they're looking to set up a portal for these claims to better easily process the claims, but they're only going to set up the portal if they lose the Kwong case. So very interesting that they've appealed the Kwong case and said that they were right and they shouldn't be giving penalty and interest relief, but they're now talking about if they do lose, they're going to set up a portal to help taxpayers out. So just interesting, they're preparing for the downside of that. On the tariff update, we haven't talked about those in a while, but President Trump did come out last week and said any country that charges a digital services tax, so France, Spain, and Italy currently charge a digital service tax of 3%. Any countries that don't get rid of that, they're going to get 100% tariff on all their goods coming in. So he's waging another tariff battle there. Another piece on microcaptives. A microcaptive, would you pay premiums over less than $1.2 million, I believe it is, somewhere around $1 million, $1.3 million. That is a reportable transaction. So if you participate in a microcaptive, you have to report that to the IRS because there was lots of abuse in the microcaptive world. Well, a microcaptive insurance consulting company took it to the courts and said, this is not fair. You can't force these regulations to be enforced. The courts overturned that and said, no, you definitely have to disclose all that. So the microcaptives still have to be disclosed. There was another case where Second Circuit Court came out and they charged, the tax court charged $384 million of penalties to these 6 clients or 6 taxpayers based on some tax positions they took. They did not get proper approval within the IRS to do that, and the court said they should have on appeals. So they actually overturned the penalty. So this is just a hierarchy within the IRS that they had to get approval for the penalties. They didn't do that, but the IRS is obviously going to fight that case. So that was pretty much it for the week.